question. Look at all this chocolate. Which one of these are better? But we're boom. I gotta hear something. Okay, there we go. Mute. There I am. Alrighty. Hey guys, how's it going? How's everybody doing tonight? Over here, it's a snowy blizzard outside. And it's very cold. So March 1st brings us a blizzard here in Syracuse, New York. And it's a little, the dogs don't even like to go out there right now, but I wanted to do a quick live stream. This isn't going to be a long live stream, but on my video that I posted today on the Vegan Zombie channel, the main channel, and just answer a few questions, talk about it a little bit, and leave it at that. So, how's everybody doing tonight? This is an unexpected live stream, but I just wanted to recap the video for you guys. I noticed I forgot to put in one very important thing in the video that I saw some people asking, so I just want to go over a couple things. And if you guys haven't seen the video yet, I don't want to give away spoilers, but go check that out. I posted on the main channel, the Vegan Zombie channel, my near-death experience, the story, what happened, and I just want to answer some of those questions. So let me just bring that up over here on my browser so I can see some of the questions on that one. There it is right there. And it's about 13 minutes long. So if you haven't seen it, go watch that first, and then if you want to come back over, you can do that. Got a lot of questions here. I didn't go in and answer any right yet because I'm just going to do it here live for you guys. And if you guys have any other questions that I didn't answer in the video, or there's something in the back of your mind that you want to ask me, feel free to do that too. But I noticed one big thing that I need to address here. So warm, yeah. You know what, Linda? It was really warm here the other day too. A couple days ago, it was really warm. Yesterday, it was pretty warm. Most of the snow melted, and now it's just covered, blanket of snow. If you guys want to see what I'm talking about, go check out the Vegan Zombie Instagram account and go to the stories. And I go out in the blizzard. So, yeah, Monday Night Live. Here we go. There's going to be no football, though. It's just me. Okay, so my video on... So I'm assuming most of you here already saw my video that I posted earlier today, and it was my near-death experience, one of them, when I was around 14 or 15 years old, and I was getting electrocuted. If you want to hear the in-detailed story, go to my main video, my main channel, and watch that video. I'm not going to tell the whole story again right here, but one of the things... Okay, so some people were confused. The one thing that my buddy said to me that I didn't hear, where he said something very important, and then he jumped out of the camper. The thing that he said to me was, make sure you jump out and don't touch the side of the camper when you do it. So he already knew about this. Now, I'm not going to hold anybody responsible there except for maybe some... I don't even know. I can't even hold the parents responsible. He had a single mom. She probably didn't know anything about it. So, and my friends, they were even younger than me. My buddy's a year younger than me, and his little brother is 2.5 years younger than me. So the brother that told me this, he was 12 or 13 at the time, and I was 14 or 15 at the time. So, and I remember I wasn't 16, because I remember one of the thoughts that went through my head while I was getting electrocuted was, I've never driven a car before. So that was one of the main things that I thought as a kid, that my when I thought my life was going to end. But what he told me was don't touch the side and just jump out. We were barefoot. It was a summer night. It was raining out. And I didn't hear what he said. So naturally, it was dark out when I went to, get out. I couldn't see the ground or anything. I was in my bare feet. I kind of cautiously lowered myself down by grabbing the side and kind of grabbing onto it, with my, my muscle, contracting so I could like gently lower my foot down to the ground. I didn't realize if I did that, I was going to be the conductor from the camper to the ground and thus be electrocuted. So that's what was happening to me. That's what he said to me. Now, the other part that I realized that I didn't clarify was when everything went completely white for me and I couldn't see anything anymore and I didn't know what was going on anymore, which I believe I passed out because the next time I opened my eyes, I was on the ground looking up. I talked to them. I don't know how long I was out, but I don't think it was too long. And it was my buddy. My buddy had realized what was going on and he pushed me off. I don't know if he pushed me off. I don't know if he kicked me off, but he got me off of there and I was on the ground. I was hurting when I woke up. So my buddy saved me. And, we're still friends today after 30 years. He's actually my friend that went vegetarian with me on the day that I went vegetarian. So it was me and two friends. And if you watch me stream on Twitch, sometimes you'll see my friend Matt. He's the other one. But this guy right here, he went vegetarian with me the same day 30 years ago. Actually going on 31. Actually, this month will be 31. It was 1990, March 1990. And he's also the same kid that we both, at that point, when we wanted to mark our, the day that we went vegetarian, the day that, we did all of this stuff, we gave ourselves little homemade tattoos when we were 13 and 14 years old. And we both have the same tattoo on our hand. So... And that was because for some of you guys may already know this, but we were training the martial art form ninjutsu, and so we gave ourselves a Japanese symbol, a Japanese character on our hand. So I think that's the main thing that I wanted to articulate, because when I watched it again, I was like, oh my God, I never said how I got off there. But that's it. I didn't die. I made it. I thought I was going to die. All those thoughts were going through my head, but yeah. And if you're just joining us and you're wondering what I'm talking about, I told my near-death experience story, and you guys can go check that out again over on the main channel where I tell the story in detail. And hopefully anybody that had any questions on how I ended up, because somebody asked, they thought that I just passed out and let go. That wouldn't happen. The only way I would be able to let go is if I died, because my your muscles contract when you're getting electrical current going through your body, and you cannot mindfully overpower that. You are there's nothing you can do unless you like flail yourself off with enough force, because my hand was clenched so tight that it kept me hanging there. I couldn't. The entire weight of my body was hanging by my fist clenching onto the side of the camper. The side of the doorway. And if you see the pictures that I put in there, I put in actual videos of me when I was that age. I found some old footage of me. I was actually skateboarding in 1991 with my friend Matt. And if you see a skateboard in the 1991, that right there was the moment, the very moment we took the camcorder out and filmed ourselves skateboarding. The very moment my ears first heard the band Nirvana. Matt brought over the tape. He put it in. He goes, I got a new band I want you to listen to. He put it in the boom box. We had boom boxes back then. And he turned it on. Nirvana started playing, and we just started skateboarding, and we were videotaping it. So I still have those videos. The other pictures that I placed in there of that tiny little house and the overgrown weeds, that was my buddy's house back then, and that was where I was electrocuted. That is the exact spot. and then the main road, you can see the main road going by and everything. So if you go back to the video and check that out, that's where it happened. I had to go to Google Maps and find that. And it's funny because I showed I just wanted to make sure that was really, I mean, it looks a little different because I remember it as being an all white house, but it's a little bit different color now. So I sent a picture to my buddy and I go, is this your house that you grew up in? And he's like, yes, sir. He's like, I keep it as a reminder from, how far I came, because I mean, he grew up there in that little tiny house that the front door didn't even lock. If you see it, it's a very, very, very small little shack. And he's made something, he owns his own company. He employs a lot of people. He owns a lot of property. He works very hard. He's persistent, and he's very, very successful now after all these years. So he definitely feels like, that is his motivation, like where he came from to where he is now. And Iron Gamer, I'm just going to associate you with Last of Us. Someday I will play Last of Us again. I guess kind of it was a voiceover, but I did the entire video first where I just talked to the camera, and then I went over and I'm like, you know what? Rather than just showing you like just me talking, I'm gonna try to find bits and pieces of some old footage of my life and put it on there. And luckily, I have a lot, and I have a lot more that's not even on my computer. But my dad did movies ever since I was a little kid, even before I was born. So I've got tons of movies that I could still to this day put on my computer and like tell you guys stories and show you guys, some things I haven't even seen yet, that some of the stuff that my dad has. But as far as I have, like, I've got movies of myself growing up from when I was like an infant all the way up until, now, present day. And out of all my siblings, I've been the only one that has carried on that tradition, that the nostalgia, the sentimental value of those movies and stuff that my siblings probably could care less about. They couldn't care less about. And so, and also downstairs in my basement, I have, as I got a little bit older, when I was a teenager and then in my early 20s, I moved to Florida and I bought a little high-8 camcorder used at a pawn shop for pretty cheap. And then so I started doing all these high-8, which was the thing back then, especially for what I was doing for skateboarding. And I was watching an old video a couple days ago just to try to find some footage to put in here. And remember I said, like, I have no footage of any food that I have. I have one where I'm grocery shopping. I think it was at a Publix when I lived in Florida. This would have been in 1995, and I was with my friends, and they were like following me around, like, "Hey man, what are we gonna buy?" And I'm like, "We gotta find some tofu, and we gotta find like." It's funny, but like maybe I can find a clip of that. It's not too long, but maybe we can do a video on that. A newbie vegan back in 1995, 96 time frame. What else was I going to say? So yeah, I have a lot of high-8 video cassette tapes downstairs that I still need to go through that I haven't even looked at in 20 years, that I want to check out. It's just very time consuming because each one is like 60 to 90 minutes, and I got to take it and actually play the whole thing to put it on my computer. It's not like a DVD where I can fast forward it like that. You actually have to play it to record it on your computer, and then hopefully I'll have some pretty cool footage that I could do story time with you guys if you guys are interested in that. What else? Yeah. Out of my whole family, and I'm a close family of 6, mom, dad, me, and 3 siblings. The only ones that are really sentimental like that and want to keep the family archive together are my dad and myself. So I will not let any of that stuff go, get away from me. It will not expire and be lost forever. I keep that stuff, and it's attached to me. So, and I can recollect pretty much every experience I've had. So anything I find, I can like tell you more of a story than than what we're showing. But does anybody have any other questions about the video that I posted today? I do have a few other ones that I could possibly tell a story of. I know that some of them I have told in these live streams, but as far as, doing a concise story where that's the only thing that the video consists of on my main channel, I still have maybe 2 or 3 more of those. Fortunately, I'm still here, all these near-death experiences. But yeah, I do have some legit near-death experiences. So that one was probably one of the first ones in my life that I really could have died, and I was pretty much, gearing myself up to like, I'm dead, like I accepted it at that point, and I made it through, luckily. No, I didn't have a flash of a tunnel. It was from the outside in, like I was saying in the video, it was kind of like curving in like this, but it was getting smaller. And it was, without a doubt, it was all bright and white. It wasn't like what I thought, like when I died, everything would go black. It was all white, and I could see the side of the camper, and I could see less and less of the camper as it went on. And I don't know exactly how long this was happening, but I could think everything, like my whole life literally flashed before my eyes, and I thought of everything that I had done and everything that I was going to miss, all the people that I would never see again, all the things that I never got to do that I was looking forward to. And then it just went all the way until nothing. And then at that point, I stopped trying and I just accepted it. I said, well, this is it. I'm dead. Let's see if there's a God, And I woke up. I opened my eyes, and I was on the ground, and my fingertips hurt. My feet killed me because they contorted, they contracted and contorted, and I was like not even really standing up. I was hanging there as my feet were probably, I don't even know, but just imagine somebody getting electrocuted. There's nothing you can do. You're at the mercy of whoever's around you. And the thing is my friend that was in the camper, he didn't know what was going on. He didn't know if we were messing with him or just joking around. But his brother knew what was going on, but he froze. He was 12 years old. He could have stopped this immediately because there was an extension cord. All he had to do, because it was like connected to another one and it was right by him, all he had to do was pick it up and unplug it. But he froze. He froze and started crying. He started freaking out like, oh my God, oh my God. He was like, I remember he was like, this isn't funny. This isn't, he was swearing every other word, and this isn't funny. This isn't funny, because he knew enough that he couldn't grab me, because if he grabbed me, he would get electrocuted too. So he just basically froze and watched me dying. I didn't die, but that's probably what was going through his head too. Yeah, Alpaca Llama. I didn't tell my parents this. If you watch the video, I didn't tell my parents this for a very, very long time, because I came from I had strict rules growing up, tons of supervision. I was very sheltered. I wasn't allowed to do a lot of things. I was always getting grounded. And I went over to my buddy's house, and it was the exact opposite. No parental supervision. Basically do whatever they wanted. I liked that. I mean, that was cool to me. But looking back, like I'm so fortunate to grow up in a family that were like always, watching everything we did and stuff. But I mean, after a while, like I needed to get away from that and finding brand new friends, and that we had something in common, which was skateboarding. We really bonded, and I didn't want my mom to prohibit me from going over and hanging out with these guys, because it was the next town over. So it was a good 10, 15 miles away. I couldn't just, ride my bike there or, skateboard there. Although I did walk there one time. Me and him were, school just ended, and we decided, we missed the bus. We were going to walk home, and we walked about 6 or 7 miles, and one of our friends drove by. It was a summer day. One of our friends drove by and was like, do you guys want to ride? And we're like, we've already walked this far, so thank you, but we're going to finish this just to say we did it. And we walked home. But other than that, like, you would definitely need a car to get there. So yeah. Did I ever feel any after effects after physically, like tingling, days or months afterwards? No, I didn't. I think my fingertips felt like they hurt, like they felt like they were burnt. I didn't have any like second or third degree burns on them, luckily, but they felt like they were burnt. And like, that was probably the one thing. And then my feet were all cramped up. So it hurt to walk for maybe in the next week or so, from what I can remember. I mean, this is 30 years ago, but yeah, for maybe the next week, it hurt to walk. The main thing that hurt on me when I was done was, I think, my right foot. My right foot hurt the most. So maybe I rolled my ankle or something. I don't know, but it was a weird. I mean, I can remember exactly. If I really think about it right now, I can relive the exact experience, and I feel what it felt like. I felt like I was hanging on to, at first I was like, what's going on? Like, I felt like I was hanging on to a big wire that was shaking so fast. And I was like, what is going on? And it was like, oh my God, I'm getting electrocuted. It took me like that long. Like, at first, I guess I would say that I was like, what is going on? And then, I was being shocked so bad. And I think the neighbors across the street, which was kind of a way because the driveway was pretty far, but across the street, I think they turned on their front light and kind of looked out the window. I screamed so loud. I can't even tell you. I shrieked. I said, help me, as loud as I could. And then I just accepted that I was going to die. So, did I need to go to the ER? I guess I didn't need to go because I didn't go, and I'm okay. I was fine. But I would think most people would think, like, if that happened, they probably would send somebody to the emergency room just to see if they're okay. I didn't. I just went inside. No parents found out. We didn't tell anybody's mom. I didn't tell my parents. The reason I didn't tell my parents is because I would never be able to go out there again. And I'm like, I didn't want that to happen. I think I told them like years and years later. I was like, oh, did you know I got, electrocuted when I went over to Chancey's? And no, what happened? But my parents are a lot different now. I mean, I broke the mold, so, I was there first, so I made it a lot easier for my younger siblings, so they weren't held as accountable, and my parents weren't as strict with them as they were with me. I was the firstborn, so they didn't know what they were doing. Like, nobody knows how to be a parent until they are a parent. You just got to learn as it comes. And, I was born in the 70s and grew up in the 80s, and things were different, a lot different then than they are now. And, yeah, my parents were very watchful over me, and I was very sheltered. But I still lived and got to do a lot of things. But as far as being unsupervised when I was little, not so much. We always had babysitters and stuff if they were going to go anywhere. No, nobody called 911. I don't think 911 was really too much of a thing back then either. I mean, it did exist, but no. No, I mean, because, I was a kid, 14, 15. I woke up, I stood up. I could talk, I could breathe. I felt a little shaken up, but other than that, I was like, wow, I wasn't like, guys, you need to take me to the hospital. I didn't, to be honest with you, it didn't even occur to me. I didn't even think like, guys, we need to go to the hospital. Like I just basically got up and I'm like, I'm not going back in there. I'm going in the house. I mean, these are the decisions of kids. So no, it didn't even occur to me. Nobody found out. Nobody knew. I think a week later, the same thing happened to his girlfriend. And he he jumped out and grabbed her and pulled her on the ground and landed on the ground with her when it happened to her. And then after that, they got our friend, not him, but our other friend that was a skateboarder. His dad came over and looked at it and grounded it, put a ground going from the camper in there so that it would not happen again. But obviously they didn't do it after me. They did it after her. Yeah, luckily it didn't throw my heart out of... Also, I was born with a heart condition, so that was another thing that could have affected my heart because, your heart beats with electrical pulses, So I didn't even think of that until I got a little bit older. But yeah, it did cross my mind later on in life. Yeah, that is true, Francie. I mean, I had a lot of different injuries growing up and, being a skateboarder and stuff like, I've definitely been in other things, but nothing. I've definitely gotten hurt where I've had lasting scars that were worse than that, but I've never been in a situation where I was up until that point that I was going to die if something didn't change fast. So if for any reason, like they were inside and I came out in the camper to grab something and that happened and they didn't, like I'd be dead. Like that'd be it. But they were both there. Julie, yeah, my mom definitely would have freaked out if she found out that happened back then. Yeah. But that's precisely why I didn't tell anyone. I didn't tell her because if I did, I wouldn't be able to hang out with my new friends anymore. And he ended up becoming my best friend, and we hung out all the time. I actually moved in with him a few years later, and then we did a lot of things together. And we're still friends today, although I haven't seen him in many years. We still talk every once in a while. Oh yeah, Trini, I did. I spent the night there many times. Like I said, I actually moved in with him. But he moved into a different house after that. That's where he lived when I first met him. And it was a little adventure down memory lane the other day when I was looking for his house because I did it on Google Maps and I went to the crossroads and then I started going down the street and I'm like, it's got to be here on the next turn, and then there it is, and I turned and I'm like, there it is. I haven't seen this house in many, many years. Did I tell the snake story? No, I didn't tell the snake story. I technically, I guess that would be another time that I probably almost died, and that would have been like, I don't know if I would have died though. Maybe just got like really, I don't know. That was even before this incident. I was a little bit younger when that happened. This is why you never let your cats go outside. How many near deaths? I was trying to figure that out today because, I mean, certain ones, like maybe you could kind of like make a case that maybe that could have been a near death. But how many like for sure near deaths do I have? I think it's 4 or 5. I have, okay, so the one I just told you, if my buddy didn't push me off, I'm sure I would have been dead. There's another one that I did tell you guys on a live stream, but I want to do a story for it where I could have died 2 times there, but if I died the first time, I wouldn't be there to die the second time, so maybe just lump that into another one. And then there's 2 more times I could have died when I lived in Florida, although there might be more that I just, but 2 definite ones right there. And so yeah, I got about 4 or 5 stories about how I almost died. And then there was a couple car accidents, not by me. I was the passenger. You got to talk to my friend Matt about that. But yeah, we did almost die a couple times with him driving. One time like really close, but the other time just kind of like, no. Okay, yeah, we're okay. But the one, yeah, if there wasn't a guardrail where it was, we'd probably be dead. But even so, even though there was a guardrail, we still had to walk in freezing cold, like negative weather, for a good mile or something, wearing not winter clothes. So that was another one. And this is before cell phones. So we had no way to contact anybody back then. Matt. If only he was on watching this right now. He knows the stories. So I'm either incredibly lucky to be here. I figured like I always somehow escape. Like I always feel like it's okay. It's okay. You know? I was also in New York City on 9/11. So that's, I mean, I'm not going to count that, but I was right there. Good thing I don't use substances. No, I don't. And that's one thing we were talking about too. They went hand in hand back then too with me and my buddies. But oh no, there's 6 times. 6 times. Yeah, that 6th time I totally forgot. Maybe I tried to forget about that one. There's another. Maybe I can tell that all in like, these are the New York stories. I could tell you the Florida stories. The Florida stories, yeah, that'd be like a whole video for you guys. But yeah, wow. Now that I think back at that, like what the heck? I don't want to say it though. I'll keep you guys in suspense. But wow, that could have been real bad, real bad. Hey, I mean, I thought this one was, I mean, this wasn't like, I don't know, like, oh, I could have taken this route or this route. If I went down this route, I would have been dead, but I didn't. I took this one. This is kind of like, I mean, there's a lot of things you can say, like if I did this decision, or if I did that decision, but like, I feel like the story I told you just now was something like I was like, if something wasn't done, I wouldn't be here. Like I was being killed. We don't, we use electricity to make things more simple in life, but if we abuse it or some accidents happen, like, we're frail, and the other thing I wanted to say at the end of the video is, like just, life is so fragile. Like it's, you want to live a life and stuff. You don't want to be sheltered in your house all the time, which I did feel like that for a little while on, not really that one, but there was another one that happened to me later on in life. And after that one, like I literally didn't want to ever leave my house again. But you got to live your life, and life is so precious. Life is also so frail that, live the best life you can. That's kind of what I wanted to say that I forgot to say. Like, make the most of it, because this is the only life that we have. We only have one body. And if something bad happens to it, then that's it. So you never know how long you have. So make the most of it. And do good things. And don't be a jerk. Florida. Florida was fun, but it was a definite learning experience. I moved to Florida on my own as a kid right after high school. I decided just to go down there. I graduated high school and, like I wanted to go to college, but not right away. I was like, you know what? I'm done with this school stuff for a little bit. I'm going to move to Florida with a couple friends and I'm going to live on my own. Like this is coming from like, living with like, strict parents and being pretty sheltered in a small little town where I lived, where I grew up. And then when I moved to Florida, I consider that like I grew up like that. Like I became street smart. I learned the hard way. And I can't even emphasize that enough, what I learned down there and some of the crazy things I saw, some of the bad things that I saw, some of the bad things I experienced. Like Florida was a crazy experience. Like I wouldn't trade it because like it's such a, like, it made me who I am. And I did have some really good, fun times there. And I met some really cool people there. But I also had some bad things happen there. So I will, Linda. I'm going to do separate videos. Well, I don't know if I'm going to do them for all of them, because some of them are like, I could tell the story in 5 seconds. I mean, you know that I can tell this story where, like, I try to tell a story, whereas somebody else might be like, I'm like, oh, tell the story what just happened to you the other day. And they're like, oh, yeah, I brought my car keys and I set them down and said, here you go. I'm like, oh, well, the way I would have told it was like, it was pouring out. I could smell the roses. It was slippery. But when I grabbed those keys and I was walking over, like literally I was walking over and I saw the neighbor's dog kind of walking towards me. And I was, like I try to like use I try to describe the situation like in my head, because my memory is like, it's not so much auditory, it's photographic. So I can see where I'm trying to come from. And when I tell a story, I want to be as descriptive as possible. So I can, if I'm going to tell somebody a story, I want them to experience as much of what I experienced as I can, get them to tell the story. Unless I'm like in a really hurry, then I'll be like, oh, I just set the car keys down right there. Anyway, so yeah, I could probably use a whole video telling a really quick story like, oh, I got bit by a snake. Yeah, Stacy, I also did. I moved to Florida on my own. I grew up. I lived there for 2 years. Ironically, I moved down there on November 8th, 1995, and did not mean for this to happen, but I moved back home November 8th, 1997. So exactly 2 years to the day I lived down there in Sarasota, Florida area. And then a couple years later, 3 years later, I went back down there and I went to college in a different area of Florida. Went to college down there for another year. And then I said my goodbyes to Florida. And I moved back home. And then I moved to New York City. And then I moved to Washington, D.C. And then I moved to back in like the general area of where I live now. So I'm a good storyteller. Oh, thanks, Mel. I appreciate that. Memory like an elephant. I do remember, like, I was telling a friend the other day, I'm like, be careful what you say to, like, even my sister-in-law or my brother. Like, be careful what you say around your little kids, because you never know. I mean, maybe nothing, but I noticed that some people say whatever they want because they think their kids are too young. But I remember just about everything that was said around me or done around me. And I'm talking about when I was like 1 or 2 years old. I remember. And I can prove it. So here's an example. Like, I can go back in my head and look at how things look. And my mom liked to argue with me and say, no, that's not how it was. But then I'll pull a picture out and I'll be like, look. And this was, she was an adult and I was just like 1 or 2. I'm like, look, I was right. And, she doesn't have anything to say. The most recent thing that happened was my great aunt. This is my grandmother's sister. Now, she's been dead for over 20 years, but I remember her. I don't know what disease she had, but she always would shake. She'd shake. She just would shake when she was talking. I'm not making fun of her. I'm just saying she always shook. And I remembered her as shaking. And I brought that up the other day. I was like, remember, how she would always, and she was like, oh, no, she didn't. I'm like, yes, she did. She's like, no, she never shook. I'm like, Mom, yes, she did. She goes, no, she didn't. And she like was adamant that she never shook, that I was making this up. But luckily for me, I was going through the old VHS tapes, and there's one video that exists. There's no other video, I think, in the entire world that exists of my uncle and my great aunt. And there's one video where my dad has, and this is, there was a clip from it in the video that I just showed you guys today. I was wearing that Hawaiian shirt, so I think it was like an Easter Sunday over at my grandma's house. I was probably 10 or 11, which means it was probably 1986 or 1987. And she was, just for the short time that we saw her, she was shaken. So, Mom, sorry, but you were wrong. I told her that the other day. Yeah, we think it was It probably was Lou Gehrig's or Parkinson's. And I remember, and I'm so glad that my dad has that one video of my uncle, because, you know, I really like my uncle, and I remember going over there to my grandma's house, and there was this one sofa chair. And I'd always sit in it. And they're like, Chris, as soon as your Uncle Bud gets here, you're going to have to get up. And I'm like, well, I can sit here until Uncle Bud gets here. I love this chair. You know, like I could never sit in it because like everybody else would sit in it. And it was Uncle Bud's chair. So when he got there, I'd have to get out and he'd sit down. And I remember, and he would always talk like this. He'd come over, well, hello there, Christopher. And that's what he would say to me. Well, hello there, Christopher. How's it going? And there's a video of him talking with my dad saying, all right, Bud, and say something. He's like, well, Tom, I don't know what you want me to say. But anyway, when he ended up dying, that chair was, you know, that was still at my grandma's house. But when my grandma died, they were getting rid of that chair. And guess who took the chair? I did. I took the chair, and I finally had the chair. It was in my room at my parents' house. But then when I moved away, it stayed in my parents' house for all these years, and then like I came back and I'm like, hey, where's my sofa chair downstairs? And my dad says, oh, we actually just threw it out last week. And I was like, what? You threw my chair away? But nothing. That was kind of disappointing. But nothing. I go, that was a perfectly good chair. That was Uncle Bud's chair. I finally got Uncle Bud's chair that I was never allowed to sit in when I was little, you know? So, but I was kind of upset like a year or two ago. My dad said, my dad bought this E.T. mask. You know, you all know my favorite movie is E.T. So he bought this E.T. mask, original, back in 1982 from Sears. And we had it. And my dad would always put it on like a little dummy for Halloween, and he put it like outside, or, you know, we had this RV camper, this little 70s RV camper that he got for cheap, and he put it in the passenger seat. So if anybody would like walk by, they'd see somebody in there. Oh, somebody's in there. Oh no, it's ET. Oh my God. What? He threw that away. He threw it away. I'm like, Dad, you threw the mask away? And he's like, yeah, maybe I shouldn't have done that. I'm like, no, you shouldn't have. I would have taken it. Why'd you do that? You should have asked me. That was an original. He threw it away. He goes, well, there was a rip in it. I'm like, Dad, E.T. Original. You bought it in 1982. That's been through a lot. Anyway, getting kind of off subject here. Okay, where are we at here? I didn't want to go this long for this live. I just wanted to jump on real quick and tell you guys to go watch my video if you didn't see it already. I'm sure I could find another one online. It's just not the same. You know, that one went through our whole families, went through the Cub Scouts and everything that I did when I was little. There was history to it. It was a sentimental value. You know, that's why I try not to be, I own my own house, and I've owned my own house for going on 11 years now. But before that, all my stuff stayed at my parents', and like my dad's always like, we got to throw some of this stuff out. And like, I know that I don't want to be a hoarder, and sometimes I want to get rid of so much stuff, but my memory, like I can look at something and it brings back all these memories. So if I get rid of stuff, it's like throwing some memories away that I might not remember anymore. Not that I can't remember them, but there's nothing there to spark that memory for me. And they all have sentimental value to me. So like when I think last year I went through a lot of stuff, and I just was like, I guess I was like in a non-caring mood. So I threw away as much as I possibly could, which was saying a lot, because there's a lot that I was like, oh, I can't throw this away. I can't throw this away. So I'm always trying to go through stuff, but I end up finding things like some of the things that I found in the past, like that letter I got from my dad in 1987, which made the whole family cry. But yeah, stuff like that. Like for the video I just did, I was trying to find the poem that I wrote when I was in high school, because that poem was about my experience getting electrocuted, but nobody knew it. Oh, Chris, that's a great poem. Like, yeah, it's probably about this or that or that. And I just I was like, yeah. But I didn't say, actually, it's about me getting electrocuted and waking up to the rain and cars driving by the road behind me at nighttime. That's what it was about. I wish I could find that poem. If I do, I'll read it to you guys. How's my audio anyway? I noticed in the last live I did that this audio arm that I have here is now on the side of me, but I always had it in front of me reaching over. And when I did that, I was kind of irritated, because when I went back to watch my video, my live stream I did with you guys, the camera focused on this and I was all blurry and I didn't realize it. So for a good majority of the video, this is the one that I did with John. After John had left, it focused on this. So if that ever happens again, just kind of say something in the chat and then I'll try to fix it. But hopefully it's lined up with me now. So if it does do that, I'll still be in focus, hopefully. Hey, Crystal, what's up? Yeah, Francie, I haven't found the poem. I'm hoping it's there. I'm hoping it's in some of my old... I've still got some of my old folders and Trapper Keepers from when I was a little kid, where, just crazy stuff like me drawing. My dad actually found something that I drew the other day and gave it to me. I drew Donald Duck when I was I think I wrote the date on it, so I think it was 1986 or something. I used to love drawing and doing art and everything. I was actually good at it. And then, I don't know. Does anybody else have this problem? So this was my problem when I was growing up. For some reason, I don't know. I don't know where this came from. I was the center of attention when I was born. I was the only child. And then, my brother came, and then my other brother, and then my sister, and then I wasn't the center of attention anymore. I don't know, but I was really good at art, and everyone told me I was really good. My parents told me I was so good, and for some reason, maybe I just have a messed up mind, but with everybody telling me how good I was at art, it made me not want to do it. So I stopped doing it. I never continued. I probably could have been a good artist at that. But yeah, going through high school, I was in advanced art classes with kids that were older than me. And everybody told me how good I was. And so with all that attention coming at me, like, oh, you're so good. Chris is great at drawing. And all, I just stopped doing art altogether. So... does anybody else have that mindset where everybody's telling you you're so good at something, so then you don't want to do it? Or did anybody at one point in their life? Because I wouldn't be like that anymore. If you guys tell me I'm good at telling stories, I'm not going to be like, all right, done. No more story time. What's up? Patrick, want to fight about it? Want to fight about it? Yeah, I got it right. I got it. You still have your old Trapper Keepers too? Yeah, those are cool. I found some of my old 80 things. I mean, if you guys want sometime, I can go through some of my deepest memories and we can talk way back, 80s and stuff like that. I enjoy thinking about when I grew up in that time frame in the 80s. And maybe I can find some pictures or old movies to tell stories about as we're doing that. Oh, you know what? I just started. Everybody was telling me. Actually, everybody's been telling me for months, and I just haven't done it. But everybody's like, "Oh, you gotta watch The Queen's Gambit." The Queen's Gambit. I'm like, "The Queen's Gambit." So I started watching. I'm like, "Oh wow, this is really good." So I wanna continue watching that tonight. Trini, unfortunately, since I kind of stopped drawing and stuff, I'm not as good as I used to be. I can still draw things, but they're not like up to my, like the expectation I would want. If I was going to make a shirt design, I would probably just hire somebody else to do it for me. Since I'm like a pretty much, I do everything myself for most of the stuff, with the exception of Twitter and stuff. I have some helpers with Twitter, but as for everything else that I've done thus far, like YouTube and stuff, I film myself. I'm in front of the camera. I'm doing the content, editing, putting videos up, like everything that I've done. So, I also got, I don't know if he's here tonight, Dominic, that helps me with my website. So, yeah, I would definitely hire somebody to do the artwork nowadays. Because when I did my last design, I kind of drew it out and I sent it to the guy that I wanted to pay to do it. I'm like, kind of like this, but like a lot better. Like, just make this better. Do your thing. You know what you're doing. And that's basically what happened. Francie says, yeah, it happened with you with dancing. Yeah, it's for some reason. So many things I did, and it didn't. I was weird about being good at things and being confident, until, because I was like completely like, I wasn't really confident as when I was growing up. But I was insecure about a lot of things. But when I started skateboarding, I started getting really good, and it was like me and my buddies, and we would skate every day, and I got really good to the point where like skateboarding is one thing that I can do where I can get down and start skateboarding and feel confident about it. Like, like I was always worried, is somebody going to make fun of me if I fall? I didn't care with skateboarding because I was good. I got really good. I put so much time and effort into skateboarding. When I first met my friends, like that I met, they were considerably better than me. They could do so many more things than I could do. But within about a year, I was better than them. So it was something where I was like, I'm good at this. And in my friend group, I'm like the best out of my friends. And I was confident when I would go out and skate in front of people and stuff. So yeah, skateboarding was something that I always felt confident about. And it was something that gave me confidence. I felt secure about it. So I identified like that. I was a skater. I was a skater boy. And then I became a vegan skater. And then I was a vegan straight edge skater boy. And now I'm still a skater boy, even though I'm much older. I never hacky sack, no. Nope. I couldn't even bounce the soccer ball for more than maybe 2 or 3 before like I end up kicking it, a considerable amount of ways away from me. You know what, Trini? My dad was good at drawing. My dad was good at drawing and painting, and he still is actually. And he gave me like a sketch pad. We used to draw all the time. My dad would draw for us, and he would do all kinds of paintings and stuff. And there's old movies of us when I was a little kid, and we would have, I don't remember which night, but he would bring this, paper home from where he used to work at Carrier back in the 80s, and he'd bring like paper home, and we would draw on it. And we would have family drawing night where we would sit down and we would draw. And one of my most favorite things to draw back then were dinosaurs. I loved dinosaurs. And my dad would sit down with us, and we would make not only dinosaurs, drawing them, we would make like 3D things. Like out of construction paper, he made like a, different, he's like, oh, that looks like a dinosaur tree. Like there's movies of him doing this with us. So that's where I got it from. Like drawing and being creative was my dad. He would draw, and like we'd always be like, oh, is this good? And he'd be like, yeah, that's good. And I'd always try to make something better and press him. And I remember one day specifically, I don't know, maybe I'm 12 or something, and we relatives were over, cousins were over. We were all playing in the backyard, and we were waiting for dinner to be made. And I was like, I'm hungry. And my dad was drawing, and he drew a picture of me with all these sharp teeth, and he said, "This is Hungry Chris." And I'm like, I thought it was the coolest thing. That's Hungry Chris, and it made me laugh, and it got my mind off of like wanting, waiting for the food to come out, because whatever. What else? I guess if there's no more questions. I'm just going to link this right here. This is the video that I posted today on the main channel. If you didn't see it yet, go check it out. That's the full story of my near-death experience. Go check it out. I was curious to see how many people would want to watch this, since everybody asked me to do it, and it's something that I don't normally do on the channel, that I've never done on the channel. So, yeah, I was just wondering. That's funny, Mel. I used to draw Garfield too. I would draw Garfield and Donald Duck, and I would also draw the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. What else did I draw? He-Man. I could show you guys, like someday when I find all my stuff, we can do like kind of like a video show and tell. I can show you guys all the stuff I used to draw, actual pictures from when I was younger. Do I still have the picture of me that my dad did with the sharp teeth? Probably not. I don't think so. But, it never ceases to amaze me. Every time I go over there, my dad's got something else to show me. And, he's like, oh, here. You know what it was? I figured it out what year it was. But he showed me a birthday card. It was a Donald Duck that I drew. And I think I brought it home. Actually, I could probably show you right now. Hold on. There's a dog behind me. Movie script. Okay, so my dad's like into like he knows art history. That's one of the stories he had. Maybe I should have him tell that story to you guys. That'd be a good story. But he loved art history. He had to go to, when he went back to college after hold on. Did he take, so I forget, I'm not even going to try to tell it, but anyway, he ended up getting an art history book. And that's when he lived in Italy, and he's like, you know what? I can actually go out to all these places and see the actual art. So he had a big appreciation for it. Here, yeah, I found it. So he was into M.C. Escher. He still likes that. So he went ahead and drew. I'll show you what he drew. It's pretty amazing. You guys have probably seen it. It's a pretty famous piece of work, if I can find. Oh, there it is right there. It's a really small. I wonder if there's a bigger picture of it, though. It's he drew it. I mean, he copied it. He copied the picture. He didn't trace it. He actually did his own version of it. But I mean, it's still pretty amazing. It's an optical illusion. And I don't know how long it took him to do it, but I remember seeing that. It's all framed and everything when I was a little kid. I don't know where it is now, but when I went over there, he always likes to give me things. He's like, here, take this. So I can show you some actual things that I did back then. Let me see. This is an old envelope. That's nothing. Indy's over there talking. So here's one thing that I did. Did I put the date on this? This isn't very good, by the way. This is when I was like probably like 8 or 9. I drew a truck. I drew Donald Duck. I don't know if you can see this. Another Donald Duck. With a can of paint. I don't think I finished that one. That was horrible, but okay. So this is the birthday card that I made for my dad. If you guys want to see it, I can tell you exactly what year this is. Come on. Okay. Happy birthday, Dad. And then happy 42nd birthday. So my dad is exactly 30 years older than me, which means I was 12, which means this was 1988 when I drew that. And that's just one of the things I was going to show you. So he kept it all these years. And he gave it to me the other night. And I'm like, Dad, I gave this to you. This is yours. This is your birthday card. And then it dawned on me. I'm like, Dad, I'm older than you now than you were when I gave this to you. That makes me feel old. I'm 3 years older than my dad was there. That's another thing that's weird, you know? I'm 15 years older than my dad was when I was born. Such an angry duck. Was it an angry duck? Yeah, it probably was, right? That was how I saw him. Let me see. Donald Duck. Yeah, he does kind of look angry. Yep. But I learned how to draw him, and I would draw him like I could draw him with my eyes closed. I would just be like, I could still remember how to do it too. I would draw his duck bill, his face, and draw his neck down, and then draw the bow tie. Yeah, there's a way to draw Donald Duck, I guess. And I just ruined it all. Do we have a focus camera today? I'm gonna run out of stuff to say in this live stream. I'm not gonna have anything to say on Wednesday. I'm not gonna have to do a Wednesday live stream. Hello, Pedal 2009. When my dad was my age right now, I was 15. Do I wish I was in his position with a wife, a bunch of kids, and a mortgage, job, etc.? Well, I kind of am. I don't have a wife. My kids are my dogs. I have a mortgage. I have a job. So yeah, I'm kind of in that position already. Would I consider drawing again? My form of art is making videos, so I don't know. I spend my time making videos, you know. I like to tell a story through a video. So, oh no, I didn't take it that way. No need to apologize. I guess things are different today than they were back then. You know, I as a little kid, thinking about how old my parents were then, I thought it was like really old, and now I'm older than they were. I mean, my mom was like 25 or 25 when I was born. Wow. I'm so much older now. I'm like 20 years older. 20 years older than my mom was when I was born. Yeah, true, Francie, visual art. Yeah, I like to tell a story through a visual video story. Let's be more specific. But, you know, sometimes those videos have drawings in it, right? I just showed you guys my drawings. My video today. Yeah, like that's how I like to tell stories. Like I like to tell a story and put, like, I put a bunch of videos I put a bunch of old videos in my new video while I told the story, because anybody can just listen to somebody tell a story, but I wanted to give you a couple little video clips of what I'm talking about, you know? Like, this is me this is me 30 years ago. This is me 40 years ago, and even more. I mean, I showed you videos of me when I was like, what, 1.5, 2? How old? I don't know how old. Maybe 2 years old. 1 year old waving, 2-year-old running down the driveway, all the way up until, you know, the last clip was me in Sarasota, Florida, with shaved hair, bleach blonde, and skateboarding. That was 1995. That's 26 years ago. So, yeah. By the way, in case you're wondering, I had the bleach blonde hair. That was a few years before Eminem was famous, by the way. So that was just a thing that me and my friends were doing. I mean, I have 3 nieces and a nephew. And I think I'm really good around kids because I feel like I'm a kid myself. Like, I know the magic of being a kid, you know? And I like to make things fun because I remember when I was a kid, and the fun things that I remember today that are like priceless memories of being a little kid. So I don't know. Your mother was born in 1926, father in 1930. Yeah, I think about that sometimes. That's around the time my grandma was born, my mom's mother. But my dad's mother was born in 1912. And I wish I was around to like ask her all these things now. But guess what my dad pulls out the other day when I go out there? He pulls out this little tape recorder, and he starts playing it. And it's my grandma. He goes, he would go over there and visit her every single day before she died. I mean, for years. I mean, not just when she was getting sick, but he would go over there all the time and visit her. And he never, I must have said anything about it, but he's got all these tapes because he asked her all these questions, and she said I would love to take those tapes and make a montage, like some of my old videos of her and some pictures, so I can hear the perspective of somebody that was born in 1912. Because now that she's not here, I would love to ask her, you know, if she was still around, like, tell me about the history of, you know, the teens and the 20s and the 30s, you know, stuff that you can only hear firsthand. You know, I had a neighbor that lived directly next door, and his name was Nick. And he died a couple years ago. He died about 3 or 4 years ago. He was like 92 years old. He's the nicest guy. I would always talk to him, and he was a World War II veteran. And I thought it would, because he would always talk to me about it. He wasn't even old enough to be in World War II, but he signed up anyway when he was underage. I think he was 15 or 16, and he signed up to be in the war, and he was a fighter pilot, not a B2, but maybe one of the bomber planes. I'm not like I'm not an expert. But anyway, I asked him one day because he was telling me all these amazing historical facts from, you know, his own experience, and I just thought, I'm like, hey, I think it would be I make videos, and I think it'd be really cool if I like came over someday and you can, you know, show me some of your stuff, and maybe you can talk and tell these things, because, you know, that's a long time ago, and there's not too many World War II vets left. And unfortunately, he didn't want to do it. But my mom was, another story. I'm just going off on tangents over here. Where do we get 19 years from? Do I have pics of my dad's mom? Yeah, she's actually in the video that I just posted today. She's when I talk about the fact that I would never see my grandparents again, my brothers, my sister, my grandparents. There's a video of her sitting to the right hand side. It's funny because if you watch this video and you go back to it, she's sitting on the right hand side. My two brothers are sitting in front of her, in front of the camera, and it's hard to see me, but I'm behind them watching TV, and I had chicken pox. I remember I had chicken pox that day. So and I had another, and my grandpa, my mom's dad, he was in the Korean War, and he was the one that recorded all the, like, he basically had like a Blockbuster in his apartment. He had so many VHS tapes that he recorded movies on, and a whole card catalog for it. So if you wanted any movie that you found, it would be like, oh, this is in B1, and you go to B1, pull it open, have the VCR tape, put it in, and you watch a movie. When I was finally old enough to be interested to ask him his experiences, it was unfortunately too late because he had Alzheimer's. And I remember specifically walking around the reservoir with him one summer, and we just walked, and I asked him questions, and you could tell he didn't know. He didn't know. I get the filmmaking from both sides of my family. I don't think anybody in my mom's side of the family ever did film any kind of film. Just my dad. In fact, my dad was the only one that did that, and he's got all these, not only the audio tape that he had there, but even before that, when he was away in the war, the way that they would talk to each other was they would have these big tape recorder reels of audio, and he would talk for, I don't know, a half an hour to them or whatever, 10 minutes, who knows. And then he would send that in the mail to them, and they would all get together and they would all listen to it. And then they would turn on a tape recorder, and they would all, reply to him and then send it back over to where he was so he could listen to it. And he still has those. So it's like I'm hearing voices of people that died before I was born. But yeah, that seems like that's over 100 years ago that my grandma and my dad's dad, my grandpa, he died before I was born. So I only knew my mom's parents and my dad's mom. So anyway, guys, is there any other questions about anything tonight? Do I think viewing a loved one on video counts as time with them? I guess, I guess it's all perspective. Seeing that person, it can bring back, good memories, but at the same time, for me, I feel like nothing's the same as being in the same room with another person and experiencing like the company of that person and being able to hear them talk to you and talk back to you in real time and stuff like that. That's unique. So if you're only talking to somebody, if you're just talking, like it's different. I mean, I've done long distance relationships before, and it's not the same because no matter how much you want to put it, like you're when you see that person less and less, you like know less and less about that person every day. In my experience. So, but it's great to be able to see, like for me, like just watching that video of my great aunt and uncle. I think that's the only one that exists of them, and I thought about it. Like, I don't think anybody. I don't think most people. I'm not saying anybody because there's probably people, but I don't think most people think about that kind of thing. Like the first thing that went through my mind was like, little did they know. They didn't want to be on camera, by the way, but little did they know they are now immortalized on camera, and they didn't even know it. And this is like 30 some years ago. This was 1986, 1987. It's, over 30 years ago, and they're being viewed by me now, and in some cases by all of you, because I'm putting the video on there. So they never even knew that would ever happen, and they didn't even want to be. But the fact that my dad took that video, they're forever immortalized. I can still hear their voice and see what they look like without having to look at a still flat picture. So, and I think that's the only video that exists of them, because nobody else in the family had any kind of video camera or anything like that. There might be some older like non-sound or black and white footage that my dad took. But yeah, anyway. Yeah, it's heartbreaking to lose people, and that's something, like I can't deny. I think about it all the time. Like time does so much. It's the only thing that doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter how rich you are, how poor you are. We're all on borrowed time. We all have a finite amount of time. You can't buy more time. Everybody has a clock ticking there. So, it's the one thing that I'm always thinking about. Like, time changes everything. And even like, I was just talking about this the other night. Like, nostalgia is such a powerful emotion for me. I would argue that it's the strongest emotion that I feel, because it's a mixture of two different emotions. It's a mixture of it makes me incredibly happy and also sad at the same time. Nostalgia, because I can bring myself right back to a point in time that makes me happy, but at the same time I'm sad because that time, that moment is gone forever. You can never get that moment back. It lives on in your head, but that moment is gone forever. So that part of it makes me sad, but it makes me happy to be able to, relive it in my mind and think about it. Oh, that's a good memory. That's a good memory. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, we all have them. Some people don't really think about it too much. Other people like me do. Hey Ari, how's it going? All right, Gomez, have a good night. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate it. So, I don't know. I don't know what else to talk about right now. I think we definitely went longer. I was only going to make this, honestly, I was only going to be like a 10-minute stream. But how long did we go for? We've done an hour and 20 minutes. Hour and 20 minutes. Should we go to 125 since that's my birthday? 125. We got 6 more minutes left. Anybody got any other questions? We got about 6 minutes left. Live chat. Thank you, Ari. Thank you for the super chat there. I'm glad to share the stories with you guys. If you guys like to listen to them, then I'm here to share them. Yeah, I don't even know what to talk about Wednesday now. I am all the words were spoken tonight. So I don't know. I'm sure we can find something on Wednesday. Yes, I'm an Aquarius. There's never a 10-minute stream. That was the plan, to have a 10-minute stream. I'm going to label this 10-minute stream. Pay no attention to the timer. Just pretend it's 10 minutes. It's just going to give you a little extra time. No games tonight. I don't have anything ready. If you guys want to play games, though, we play games over on Twitch, and even when we're not, even on the downtimes now on EQ, we have a trivia game that we've been playing, which is pretty fun, and you guys can all join in and play together with us. I didn't put up the Ouija board, but if anybody, I gotta do that whole website thing, which if anybody does want a Ouija board thing, email me. What you can do is you can just buy the Go Vegan hoodie, and then in the description say you want the Ouija one, and I can very easily just make it. I mean, I make all my shirts myself. Not all of them. The ones below the stream, I don't make those ones, but the Ouija, the Go Vegan, all those, I do make those. Oh, my sister texted me. What does she say? What does that? What is that? What is that? I don't know. I'll have to reply to her after we're done here. A couple more minutes here. How's the lighting look? I got the lighting a little bit different. Do I wear gloves now when I get in and out of mobile homes? No. You know what? It doesn't even, to be honest, it doesn't even go through my mind anymore. I don't get in and out of mobile homes too often, but I did go into Veg Inspired. Kathy and John from Veg Inspired, they have a mobile home and they travel all over the country now. Yeah, I went in there, mobile home, and I didn't think twice about being fried. All right, guys, I'm going to end this stream now. I'm going to go watch some Netflix, I think, and make some food probably. Everybody have a great night. Again, if you haven't watched it already, go check out my video. The link is pinned right up here. Or just go over to the Vegan Zombie channel and watch the latest video. And I'll see you guys later. Just watch out for zombies and have a great night.